Hey guys, I am here doing my 1 month update. Can you believe it? It's been an entire month. Oh my gosh, I have so much to tell you guys. Just like with my pregnancy updates, I'm gonna start off with some updates about myself and then some updates about the baby. The first 2 weeks of being home were the absolute hardest. They were so hard. Just getting used to a new routine and having the baby in the house and just being used to, having a new human, having a new life to take care of. The hardest thing for me has been breastfeeding. We had a lot of latch issues in the beginning, and it took us 24 days to actually realize that the reason we were having latch issues was because Jacob actually had a tongue tie. I didn't know what that was before. That wasn't something that anybody had told me about or something that I even knew existed. Basically, this part of your tongue, the webbing underneath your tongue, his webbing was too close to the tip of his tongue, and so he couldn't move his tongue properly in order to latch correctly, and so we were having a lot of trouble breastfeeding because of that. The reason I even found out is because I went to a lactation support group, and the lactation nurse actually brought it up, and so we went to our doctor and he checked, and sure enough, that's exactly what it was. We got the tongue tie corrected by an ear, nose, and throat doctor. It was a lot scarier for us as the parents than it was for Jacob. He did cry a little bit, but it was more just because he was uncomfortable with doctors having their fingers in his mouth, but it wasn't really painful or anything, and he was perfectly fine within 10 minutes. Since we got the tongue tie corrected, his latch has improved a lot. But now, because he wasn't latching correctly for the first 24 days, my milk supply is really low, and so we're working on that, and that has been really, really stressful for me. I've been attending a weekly breastfeeding support group to try to surround myself with people that can help me and maybe other moms that are having some issues, and that group has been both really helpful and also really hard to go to at the same time. It's hard to go to when some of the moms that are around me, the reason that they're there is because they have an oversupply. So they're asking questions like, what do I do if I'm engorged, or I have all this milk that I've pumped and I don't have any place to store it, and I'm over here like, I have no milk. Can you give me some? So that's really hard. But it's also nice to be in a room full of women that are going through maybe not the same issue, but just having breastfeeding issues in general. And the nurses there are really, really helpful. Because of all the breastfeeding issues that I've had the past couple of weeks, I've had a lot of baby blues. I know in the vlogs it seems like, we got everything put together and we're doing great, and we really are. But I had some major baby blues the first, I'd say 3 weeks, and this is 1 month in, so that's 4 weeks. So only the last week or so I ever really started feeling better. I was crying every 5-10 minutes, and sometimes it'd be for no reason. Sometimes it would be because I was breastfeeding and nothing was working correctly, or sometimes I would cry just because he was crying. I knew that I would still have a lot of crazy hormones right after he was born, but I didn't realize that my baby blues were going to be that bad. Things are starting to look better now as far as breastfeeding. My milk supply is still really low, and I'm still working on that. I'm doing what's called a triple plan, so I have to breastfeed and then pump and then feed it back to him, and then we're also supplementing with formula. So that has been a lot of work. I'm constantly doing that. That is my life right now, is breastfeeding and pumping and backfeeding. It's a lot of work. One of the weirdest symptoms that I had post-pregnancy was sweaty feet. If you guys watched my updates from before, you know that I had extremely swollen feet, especially the last month of my pregnancy. They sweat so much, but that was just all of the fluid that was in my feet, and within about 2 weeks or so, the sweating stopped and slowed down. Now my feet are back to normal. Now here's some updates about little Jacob. So he is a pretty good baby. He does cry, like all babies cry, but he's not crying constantly, which I'm very happy about. He does not sleep very well at night, but hopefully that will get a little more regulated as he gets a little bit bigger. Hopefully we'll establish a little bit of a routine. He has yet to sleep in his crib right behind me. I think it's just too big of a space for him just yet. We have been co-sleeping, and we've been trying different things, and I think we finally settled on something that works really well for all three of us. At first, we tried a co-sleeper that I borrowed from a friend of mine. That worked out for the first couple of days, and then he didn't seem to like it after that. I think because it's a flat surface, much like his crib. So we tried our pack and play that has a little cradle in it, and it's more of like the curved surface, and it kind of cradles him a little bit more, and so he seemed to like that. And then we ended up getting a rock and play. Those things are fantastic. He loves the rock and play. It's really deep and really curved, so it kind of feels like you're holding him. and he really likes that. So he sleeps in the rock and play at night. If he's crying or fussy and he's not crying because he's hungry or he needs his diaper changed, then one of us will pick him up and hold him, and he'll fall asleep on your chest or sometimes right next to us in the bed, but then we'll put him right back into the rock and play after he's settled down. He sleeps for 3 to 4 hours at a time, which is nice, so we do get solid chunks of sleep. It's not a whole lot, and so we are a little bit sleep deprived, but at least we're getting solid blocks of sleep instead of just 1 or 2 hours at a time. I have both the Boba Wrap and the Ergo Carrier. He loves both of them. I'm so excited about that. He's still a little bit small, I think, for the Ergo Carrier. I have used it and I have the infant insert, but he kind of gets swallowed up by the infant insert. After some practice, the Boba Wrap has actually been really helpful, just getting things done around the house. So I wear the Boba Wrap around the house, and then I wear the Ergo Carrier when we're running errands. While I was pregnant, Jacob got hiccups a lot, and he still gets hiccups a lot. He usually gets them at least once a day, sometimes 3 or 4 times. And sometimes they don't seem to bother him at all. He'll just kind of sit there, look at you, and have his little hiccups. And other times it seems to bother him and he cries. The only way to get rid of the hiccups is to feed him. But if he's already eaten and then he gets the hiccups, there's really nothing you can do except maybe give him the pacifier and hope that that sucking will get rid of the hiccups, and usually it does, so he doesn't get them for very long. He has started smiling. I can't say that they're really intentional smiles or that he's smiling at us exactly. Just in the last couple of days, he's really been giving us some big grins, so I'm hoping that he'll have more deliberate smiles and actually smile at us in the next week or so. One thing that Jacob hates is bath time. Oh my goodness. This kid does not like the bath at all. I put him in the bath and I'm cleaning him, and the water is warm enough and it's not too hot, it's not too cold, but this kid just screams through the entire bath time until he is completely dried and dressed, and then he calms down. He also hates getting his diaper changed. He screams almost every single time. I'd say probably 8 out of 10 diaper changes. He just sits there and screams. One thing that he loves is the swing that we have out in the family room. One of my friends gave me her baby swing after she was done using it, and he really likes it, which makes me really happy because I can set him in the swing and I can get some food for myself or clean up dishes or just sit down on the couch and relax. He's become a lot more alert during the last week or so too, so the swing has a little mirror at the top and he just sits there and gazes at himself, which is really cute. And we have a play mat too that he's just really started to use in the last week. And I have a little mirror that goes on there and a little mobile that spins around, and he just lays there and stares at it. In the last day or so, Mike and I have noticed that poor little Jacob is going bald. That's something that babies do. If they're born with hair, after a few weeks they do start to go bald and they lose their hair and then they grow it back. So he is starting the whole balding process. He's bald from about his forehead about halfway up his head so far. I don't know if more will fall out, but we'll see. That is our 1 month update, you guys. As sad as I am that Jacob is already 1 month old, I can also say that I'm really glad that this first month is done and over with, because it was really hard for me with the baby blues and the breastfeeding issues that we're still working on and just getting used to everything. This first month was really, really difficult for both me and Mike. I'm really happy that we can say that we're done with this first month and just move on from there. And I'm really excited to see all his little changes and how much he learns and grows in the next 11 months, because he's going to be a year old before we know it, which is really sad. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you at my 2 month update. Bye.